Welcome to this webinar brought to you by APTA's Fit for Practice campaign. My name is Sarah Amesbury and I'm a PT here at APTA working on the campaign. We are very lucky to have Beth Sarfaty with us today. She has a physical therapy degree from Northeastern University and an MBA from Regis University. She is a Vice President of Rehabilitation Services in the Critical Illness Recovery Hospital Division with Select Medical. Today, Beth will present on the power of mentoring. What is it, why you might benefit from it, and how can you be a good mentor or mentee? Beth, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. So we're going to talk a little bit about the power of mentoring today. Mentoring is really important both as a mentor as well as a mentee to help you develop and grow personally and professionally. I personally have found that working with a good mentor or as a mentor, working with a good mentee is also really good for our mental health when we feel that we need a little boost or just to get either re-energized or reconnected with ourselves as clinicians. So hopefully you will get something out of today, and I look forward to sharing this with you. So why do we need mentoring? As I said, it's a really good opportunity to reconnect with the profession. I often find myself when I am mentoring younger professionals that it reminds me why I went to school over 30 years ago to be a clinician, and also helps me to really stay very connected to the new generation of clinicians that are in our industry. So it really does give us that opportunity to reconnect. As a mentee, it helps us to learn how to connect with different people, either with more experience, folks that have worked in different areas and where you as a mentee may be working now, and even just learn how to connect with people outside of direct clinical care. It also helps us, as I said, to stay abreast of changes, especially if you are somebody as either a mentor or a mentee that is working in one clinical setting or has been working in one clinical setting for an extended period of time. It gives you an opportunity to learn different things from different settings or even different parts of the profession, such as regulatory or payer or education, any of those. Absolutely gives us the opportunity to collaborate, again, both as a mentor and a mentee. And if you're somebody who doesn't feel comfortable collaborating, this is a great way to hone in on those skills and develop them. And overall, absolutely a way to help grow and develop. So what is mentoring? Mentoring is when there is a relationship where one person actively supports the professional growth and development of another. And the reason why the word actively there is bolded and italicized is because the only way a mentoring relationship will work is if both sides, the mentor and the mentee, are active participants. If somebody is told they are going to be mentored and they as a mentee are not ready to do that, it will not be a successful relationship. And on the other side, if the mentor does not feel a connection to the mentee, or if the mentor was told you're going to mentor somebody and they're not actively engaged, it won't work. So a mentor is a trusted guide and advisor. It's somebody who the mentee agrees to work with. In the best case scenario, the mentee will choose their own mentor. It doesn't always work that way, but that is in the best case scenario. So when the mentee finds somebody to mentor them and they feel that they can trust them and appreciates the guidance and direction they're going to give them, they will feel that support and encouragement. A mentor is somebody who the mentee wants to aspire to be like. They have the growth and the development, the professionalism, the experience, the insight, all of that the mentee is looking to emulate and learn from. So what is the goal of mentoring? The goal of mentoring is to help to develop employees, okay? One of the things I want to make sure that you understand here, and I know it's the last bullet, but it's important, is that mentoring is not the same thing as coaching. Coaching is usually meant for very job-specific tasks. And so when we talk about improving somebody's job-specific tasks, that job of coaching is usually left up to the employee supervisor. That's not the case in mentoring. Mentoring is there to help develop the overall professionalism and professional growth of somebody, of an employee, of a mentee. So what we're looking to do is transfer knowledge, and a lot of times that's knowledge based on experience, okay? So we're looking for, yes, improved skills and retention, but job-specific skills is really left to coaching and usually a supervisor. When we talk about how the guidance and direction is to be used, or to be shared rather by the mentor, it really is based on the goal of the mentee. And we're going to get into that much more as we talk today. So what does mentoring enhance? It enhances leadership development. So if you have, if you're somebody who's interested in becoming a manager or a supervisor or in some other type of formal leadership role, you can find a mentor who's in a leadership role and certainly help you with that. It can help with overall career development, professional development. I often say that when we have mentoring programs set up in different organizations, that it absolutely helps recruitment and retention. Certainly somebody that graduated from school over 30 years ago, one of the things that we have found over the last 10 years is that young professionals, newer professionals, are definitely looking for mentoring opportunities. So we know that that is a recruitment tool. And as I said earlier, it helps to provide growth in professional practice. It can be used for education and research as well, and overall professionalism. So some of the benefits of mentoring, as I also said, is to renew somebody's enthusiasm. Whether you're the mentor or the mentee can help with that, but specifically for the mentor, it helps us to identify our role of a specialist that we're being sought after within the profession. So as somebody who either never has been a mentor before, if you're a new mentor, if you feel like you need that little kick of energy, being a mentor to somebody can definitely help with that. It helps to give us a greater understanding of what the newer graduate, the younger professional is learning in school, what they're looking to get out of their role in a clinician, reminds us of some changes that might have occurred within the academic setting that we're not as familiar with, or even just some generational differences with younger professionals. It absolutely helps as a mentor. It absolutely helps to enhance our skills as a coach for some, specific skills that we might be helping develop. Absolutely helps to enhance our skills to counsel people, improves our ability to listen. Listening is huge when it comes to mentoring. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. And it helps us to learn how to model the behaviors that we have that somebody is seeking, how to model our behaviors for other people. Also helps us to further develop our personal leadership style, because we'll get that feedback from the mentee that we're working with. Helps us to demonstrate the expertise that we have. Sometimes as mentors, we forget how much we have to offer mentees based on what we're doing. And again, if you're sought out to be a mentor, what a great compliment, right? So it allows us to demonstrate that. It absolutely helps to increase our generational awareness. Not always, and probably not even most often, but there are times where the generational difference or age difference or just experience difference between the mentor and the mentee is enough that it could be this generational difference. So that absolutely helps us to become a little bit more aware of that as well. And even as the mentor, it gives us the opportunity to expand our professional network and obtain a fresh perspective, as I've talked about a little bit. So a couple things to remember as we really start to get into what a mentoring relationship is about is a mentor is not a supervisory relationship. You'll understand that more as we go on today. As I said earlier, your supervisor should be somebody that coaches you on your job expectations and specific job skills that you need to achieve those expectations, not what a mentor is. A mentor is a confidential relationship. So when you enter into that relationship, the expectation is, whatever's spoken about here and shared here stays here. You are not to share that with other people, and definitely not as a mentor, not to share that stuff with the mentee supervisor. It is not evaluative, right? This has nothing to do with the job specific expectations. It is a partnership, and it's an agreement to help the mentee grow and develop. So what's a preceptor and how is a preceptor different than a mentor? So a preceptor is somebody who's an experienced practitioner who helps to provide role support of a specific role to enhance a staff member or a student's learning experiences specific for that job, again, the job expectations. So the preceptor is somebody who works with the learner or the employee for a defined period of time to help them achieve the competencies they need for that job role. So a preceptor really is like a coach. In our world of PT, I often say a preceptor really is the clinical instructor, right? That we often have when we do have when we are out in the clinic as students. So what's the difference between a preceptor or a mentor? Again, you can even insert the word coach instead of preceptor on this slide as we're talking about it. The mentor is somebody that, again, usually the mentee chooses based on experiences, personalities, behavior, knowledge that the mentee wants to get. So again, best case scenario, the mentee identifies the mentor. So the mentor often will have this ongoing relationship with the mentee. There may be a defined period of time that you're in this formal mentoring relationship. However, it could last forever. It can be informal. A lot of times people might say, oh yeah, this was my informal mentor, and you may just be thinking that. But for a true mentoring relationship, we do ask that it become a little bit more formal, just kind of keep people on task. It is generally long-term. Even if you set it for a year is a lot longer than a preceptor or a coach usually works with somebody, or even think about your time as a clinical instructor, usually not a year long. A mentor usually does have more experience, focus on career and personal development, as we said. And this is a big one, again, which I'll address more as we go on. The agenda is sent by the mentee. Where as opposed to the job, the coach at the job or the preceptor, as you can see in the other column, usually sets the agenda. In a mentoring perspective, the agenda is set by the mentee. So the preceptor / coach is usually set for a period of time, right? A lot of us work in places where you will have a preceptor or a coach for the first 3 months of onboarding, right? The first 90 days of employment. When the preceptor and the mentee, or the preceptor and the employee rather, work together, those meetings are usually structured with a very clear agenda, expectations at a set period of time. Again, it's usually short term. In many cases, the coach or the preceptor doesn't have more experience than the student. They might, and probably more than the student at the beginning, but not necessarily a wide range of different experiences. They'll focus on issues at work. And as I said, that agenda is set by the preceptor or coach specifically to achieve identified goals that must be met now to help that employee with their work needs. So who is a mentor? Who are the folks out there that you can either identify to have be your mentor, or for you to identify with right now to say that you want to be a mentor? So a mentor is an advisor, somebody that you can certainly go to ask a whole range of questions to, and somebody that you really take that advice from and adhere to it. A coach is, yes, a coach, as I just said, it's different than a mentor. However, a mentor can be a coach, right? A coach is somebody who, if you think about it from a sports perspective, is somebody who encourages you, who is able to give you feedback for you to pivot in the moment, but is also somebody there to rah-rah you, right? To encourage you ongoing. A mentor is a is a sponsor. So somebody who can use their influence to help with the mentee's entry into either an organization or even into the industry as a whole. A mentor is also a role model, right? Someone who the mentee can admire and look to emulate. A mentor is a counselor, so somebody who can provide moral support during times of stress or indifference or difficult decision-making. A mentor is a friend, can be a friend, shouldn't necessarily be your best friend, but a mentor often becomes somebody who you consider a friend. A mentor is also somebody who we consider a career guide, right? Really somebody to help the mentee map out their professional career, help to see where they can go to help to develop their skills and assist them on focusing on personal development and advancement. A mentor is often a teacher, somebody who actually can help you learn specific things. Absolutely a confidant, as I said earlier. When you enter into this mentoring relationship, you both agree to keep everything, or at least the vast majority of what's discussed, confidential. And if for some reason you need to go outside that boundary, you ask for permission from both sides. A mentor is somebody who can be a sounding board. You want to allow your mentee to explore their thoughts and their ideas openly with you. So in many cases, you can be a sounding board. Absolutely an information source. You have this ability as a mentor to share your viewpoint and perspective from all of your experience. And a mentor is absolutely an intellectual guide. Being a mentor, you're there to help shape your mentee's thinking, overall critical thinking process and clinical reasoning, and even their analysis abilities. So mentees, what does it take to be a mentee? So mentees, some mentees feel comfortable approaching somebody they want to be a mentor, and other times they don't. So they might say to somebody, I want to be mentored. Can you set me up with a mentor? But when we consider being a mentee, all mentees are obviously individualized and unique, right? So what you're usually looking for as a mentee is to learn how to understand yourself a little bit better, to be able to appropriately connect with your mentor and then develop and grow professionally. So mentees will often require different amounts of attention or information, encouragement. So if you're a mentor who is either working with multiple mentees or you've had multiple mentees, you certainly need to go into it knowing that people are going to be individualized and unique and require different things from you. So what is the mentee looking for when they enter into a mentoring relationship? They are looking for somebody to help to provide overall support. Again, somebody to talk to about it. A lot of times, mentees, especially if you work in a larger organization, you might want to learn more about the organization's culture. So you're looking for a mentor in that perspective. The mentee is looking for opportunities for clinical advancement, leadership advancement, whatever it is that they're looking to just grow and develop overall. Usually, mentees are looking to develop confidence. They might not say that out loud, but that is one of the things that they look for. Usually, if somebody is looking to be mentored as well, the mentee is looking for a little bit more professional satisfaction, overall career growth, and to model professionalism. So more for the mentor, benefits of being a mentor. You will be recognized for what you know. Again, I said it earlier and I'll say it again because I think it bears repeating that I think one of the best compliments somebody can get is to be asked to be a mentor. And being asked from the mentee directly is even a better compliment than somebody saying, I think you'd be a great mentor for this person. I think it's even better when that person comes to you and says, I'd love for you to consider mentoring me. Mentors usually find satisfaction in helping people. Again, we get this renewed enthusiasm in what we're doing and why. If you are somebody who is in a formal leadership role, mentoring somebody is a whole different level of leadership than what you probably use in your day-to-day job. So if it's not something you've ever done and you are in a formal leadership role and you're looking for something a little bit different, I encourage you to consider being a mentor. It definitely draws on your leadership and management skills in a very, very different way. Again, I love to learn new perspectives from mentees that I work with. You can always share information about ethical practice. That tends to be a big thing with mentors and mentees in healthcare, is a lot of talk about ethical situations. Encourage feedback. You as a mentor doesn't mean that you are not also learning as you're going. So encourage feedback from your mentee to make sure that you are giving them what they need, and it's in a way that's meaningful and makes sense to them. Being a mentor helps to expand your network as well, and as I said, increase generational awareness. So for organizations that offer mentoring relationships, where is there a benefit there? It helps to improve employee engagement. As I said earlier, a lot of newer professionals look for mentoring opportunities when they take a job. It absolutely helps to improve recruitment, engagement, retention, all of that. Helps to improve morale. Why? Because you're in an organization that values growth and development. And that to me is huge. If you're somebody who is able to say to your employees, yes, we want you to grow and develop as a person and a professional, that's tremendous, right? So overall, it could and should absolutely help with performance and productivity, absolutely helps with communication, because the skills that you either develop or learn or further hone in on with communicating between the mentor and the mentee is just tremendous. It can provide clinical advancement, but do not guarantee it. As an organization, you don't want people to think if they enter into this, it means that they're definitely going to be, promoted at some way down the line. It does tell the organization certainly that you are, if you're a mentee or a mentor, that you're somebody that is looking to develop or develop others. So certainly that opportunity might exist. Again, helps to encourage personal and professional growth. And I keep saying generational diversity, but I think it's important because one of the things that we certainly see in organizations is that as there's more intergenerational collaboration between the teams, that there's also that opportunity to continue to learn from each other. So some of the characteristics, specifically some of the specific characteristics that you need to become a good mentor, to be a good mentor. So you should understand your organization's culture, right? You need to be able to talk to it, and if you're asked questions, be able to answer it accordingly. Be knowledgeable and resourceful. And one of the things I say about this all the time is if you don't know the answer to a question that you're being asked, then be honest about it and say, I don't know the answer to that. That's a great question, but let me find out. And that's what resourceful is, right? If you don't have the answer or know the answer, you know where to go to get it. Be sure to set expectations. Whatever your relationship's going to be with the mentee, however you're going to have these conversations, face-to-face, on Zoom, phone, some email, some text, whatever it's going to be, set the expectations for that, but also let your mentee know you're not a psychologist who's going to be available 24/7, right? Have strong communication skills. If you are not a strong communicator, maybe you want to be mentored on that first before you take a mentee under your belt. Have to be a good listener, right? You want to know what their goals are. You want to know what their challenges are. You want to know what their strengths are, and you want to know what they need to develop. And you are not, a mentor isn't somebody who tells their mentee what to do, but a mentor is somebody who guides the mentee on how to think differently to grow and develop. You want to be inspiring and motivational and non-judgmental, right? Your mentee is not having that phone call with you to say, oh, that was lousy, or that was terrible, or you're awful at this, or whatever it may be. Be inspiring, be motivational. You want them to continue to grow and develop. Be responsible, be available, be open and honest. Nobody wants to enter into this mentoring relationship to get a bunch of fluff, right? Be honest with your mentee. Be objective. Be challenging, right? You're not giving them the answers, you're making them think differently to get the answers on their own. That's really important. You should be a good problem solver so you can help them solve their problems. Don't solve them for them, but you want to help them solve the problems. Be honest, be trustworthy, be humble. Again, it's a huge compliment to be asked to be a mentor. You want to be collegial, and again, you want to be confidential in all of this, and always acknowledge somebody's achievements as they're working through this. So as I said, mentors don't have all the answers, but they ask all the questions, right? Don't give all the answers, ask questions. Let the mentees lead the process through all the conversations, right? Commit to frequent encouragement. Let the mentee know that you're also getting something from the relationship. And remember, I mean, you may get to the point where it goes from a formal to an informal relationship, and you may even become friends, but don't be somebody who gets stuck in just giving all the answers. You want to ask all the questions so that they start to think differently. So mentors should not, a couple of should nots, and this is important. Mentors should not get between the mentee and the supervisor's relationship. So this is one of the main rules when it comes to confidentiality. You do not want to be a mentor and go back to the mentee supervisor and say, oh yeah, my mentee is doing X, Y, and Z, or my mentee is not able to do X, Y, and Z. Don't get in between that. If there are work-related job task issues between the supervisor and the supervisor needs to deal with that. A mentor-mentee relationship is for overall personal and professional growth and development. Usually has little to do with a specific job task that the mentee might be challenged with, okay? Do not get involved with the mentee's daily work, right? That's not what this is about. This is about overall growth and development. Doesn't mean that there might not be some days where you talk about the daily work and some challenges that are happening, but it's not about that day-to-day job task. That's the coach, that's the preceptor, that's the supervisor. So what goes into being an effective mentee? Because as I said at the beginning, this needs to be an active participatory relationship on behalf of the mentor and the mentee. If either one of those are not actively engaged, it will not work, okay? So to be an effective mentee, you have to be actively engaged. You have to be open to new ideas. If you are somebody who doesn't take feedback well, is not somebody who's willing to try new things, is not willing to listen to other people's ideas, you're probably not ready for a mentoring relationship. Doesn't mean you never will be, but it probably means you won't be right now. Or, as I'm saying it out loud, maybe that's your goal in the mentoring relationship, that you're not good at being open to new ideas, and that's what you want to work on, but that's what you would tell your mentor, right? Also have good communication skills. Why? Because you have to be receptive in what your mentor is going to be telling you, and you have to be willing and able to be a good receptor of your communication to tell your mentor what it is that you're looking to improve upon, okay? So you have to be an active learner, be a good listener, right? You're going to listen to what the mentor says, be somebody who takes initiative. Again, don't wait for somebody to say, I think you need to be mentored. You need to identify that there's somebody out there that you want to emulate those behaviors, learn from them, and become a mentee of theirs. Be prepared. What does that mean? It means when you start this relationship and as it's ongoing, know what it is that you want to talk about. Know your needs and goals. Know what your goal is. If you are not prepared overall, and then not be prepared for each meeting about what you want to discuss, then it's going to end up being a waste of time. The mentor is not coming to these meetings prepared with stuff. The mentee leads the meeting. Be appreciative. This is always volunteer on both sides, right? So be, as a mentee, be appreciative of the time and the energy and the resources that your mentor is giving to you. The mentee, again, has to recognize the boundaries, right? It's not somebody that you're going to become best friends with. And probably not, if you do become close friends, it's probably not going to happen while you're in that formal mentoring relationship. And recognize also, again, this is a volunteer thing, voluntary relationship. So recognize that your mentor has other things going on. Don't call them at 2 in the morning. Don't take up 4 hours of their time on a Saturday morning, all of that kind of stuff, right? And share the time commitment. So make sure that whatever your mentor and you agree upon, you show up for, and again, you're prepared for. Be willing to change, have a desire to grow. Again, be open to feedback and adhere to the confidentiality. So what are some of the benefits of being a mentee? You're going to have support, right? You're going to have somebody whose number one goal in their relationship with you is to help you grow and develop. You have that support. That's fabulous, right? You can't ask for anything better. You're going to be able to learn about the company's cultures. You'll find out about opportunities for involvement, right? Not opportunities for advancement. Do not go into this relationship, especially if you pick a mentor who has a higher level than you do in the organization. Do not think that just because that person is mentoring you, that you're going to be next in line, okay? Opportunities for involvement, yes, they'll help you with that for sure. Opportunities to develop if it comes up, but don't expect it. Other benefits is development in different clinical and leadership roles, development of your growth, both clinically and professionally. It will absolutely help you to develop confidence. Why? Because you're talking to somebody who, it's on a one-to-one basis, is going to give you an awful lot of feedback on how to think differently, right? Should help to improve professional satisfaction. Absolutely can assist with career growth and development. Just don't expect it. And it's an opportunity for you to model their professionalism, right? To see how they act, how they respond to situations, how they continue to grow and develop so that you can follow suit. Being a mentee absolutely gives you this increased chance for overall success. It also gives you the opportunity to learn from mistakes that your mentor has made in the past so that maybe you can even avoid making the same mistakes they have. And it gives you the chance to not only be excellent, but to hear from somebody about how well you're doing. So to grow your confidence that way as well. So what are some of the things that goes into your role of being a mentee? As I already said a couple times, you are the driver of the relationship, right? You need to identify the skills, the knowledge, the goals that you want to achieve, and you need to be able to communicate them to your mentor. You need to bring up new topics that are important to you at any given time, and also be able to give feedback to your mentor. If your mentor is not giving you something that you feel is useful and beneficial, be sure to tell them that so that they don't waste their time continuing to go and get the information or do some resource digging or whatever it is, right? You need to be able to give feedback to your mentor as well. You need to be the development planner. Again, you as the mentee need to maintain this mentoring plan that you're looking for and work with your mentor to set up goals, developmental activities, and the timeframes that are appropriate for what you're looking to achieve. You need to be a resource partner, right? Don't expect the mentor to give you everything. You have to be willing to do your work on that end as well. Work with your mentor to seek resources for learning, to identify people and information that's going to be helpful for you throughout this journey. You also need to be a teacher, right? Look for opportunities to give back to your mentor. As I said at the beginning, and I think I said it twice towards the beginning of this, that I learn as much from being a mentor as I did from being a mentee. And I'm actually still a mentee at times, but I learned just as much being a mentor. So please know that as a mentee, you have as much to give to the mentor as the mentor is giving to you, right? Share any information that you think might be valuable. And commit to being a continuous learner. Take full advantage of this opportunity to be on this learning path and continue this learning path. So for this to be an effective relationship, right? Again, as I've said a couple of times, both have to be actively engaged and want to be there. You know, the rule of saying something to somebody and making sure it sticks is to tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. Repeat things 3 times. So I've done that with this already, right? Both the mentor and the mentee have to be actively engaged and want to be there. If either party are not, this is not going to be successful. And I'm sure a lot of you that have been in mentoring relationships can remember times where it just kind of fizzled out because one or both of you were just not actively engaged. You should have mutual goals. Mostly the mutual goals should be the mentor agreeing that the goals that the mentee brings to the table are achievable and appropriate for the mentee at the time, okay? Please, again, recognize it has to be voluntary. This is not a paid position. This is not, and again, best case scenario, the mentee finds the mentor. They don't just get paired up based on somebody saying you need to be mentored by somebody. Maintain confidentiality. This is the 3rd, 4th, or 5th time I've said it. It is crucial. If either party in this mentoring relationship is not confidential, you're gonna scrap the whole thing, okay? So please make sure that that is something you're well aware of at the beginning. Be mutually respectful of each other, be honest and open. Again, don't waste anybody's time by blowing smoke. Be willing to work together, okay? Collaborative, joint accountability, and identify and encourage each other's strengths. And that's one of the best parts about this is that both the mentor and the mentee have strengths, and you're just going to build those, and you're going to use them every time you have the opportunity to work together. So when we talk about getting the most from these mentoring relationships, again, set expectations. There are mentoring agreements out there. I highly encourage them so that both parties are well aware of what both parties need to bring to the table, the confidentiality piece, the time commitment, all of that, okay? Set expectations about what you want to do. Be sure when you're entering into this relationship at the beginning that you share information about yourself. You definitely both want to learn about each other and know as much as you can and should know about each other so that you can help develop and be honest and open through the whole thing. Be responsive and communicate clearly. Won't help if you never respond to emails or texts or phone calls, or you don't show up for meetings. and if you don't communicate clearly, right? Both sides need to understand what each side is saying and what each side is responding, or how each side is responding rather. And again, be open and honest. I can't say that enough. So really, when we talk about these relationships working, trust is a huge factor. If the mentee doesn't trust the mentor, this won't work. If the mentor doesn't trust the mentee, this won't work. So please, the mentor is definitely an advisor, a friend, a confidant, but the mentee is just as important in this trust factor as the mentor is. So please make sure that trust is a huge part of this. And then we want both the mentor and the mentee to commit, again, to each other, to the whole process. This is long-term, right? This is not a 3-month onboarding, first 90 days of employment thing. This is something that's going to take, 6 months, a year, maybe a year and a half. Any mentoring relationship I've ever been in has been a minimum of 10 months. So it is long-term, right? Commit to the time. It's going to take time between the formal meetings that you have and all the time behind the scenes, getting information together or preparing your goals as a mentee. It's going to take time. Commit to the attention that you have to give to the overall project, and commit to the results so that you can actually achieve them. So what's next? How do you sign up? So my goal for this was that hopefully I got you excited about this. If you've never thought about being in a mentoring or a mentoring relationship as either a mentor or mentee, or maybe I have provided some information that the next time you're in this, it will be a little bit different if your first one wasn't quite as successful as you wanted. So what's next? How do you enter into this relationship if it's something that you think would be beneficial at this time for you? So identify somebody who emulates the clinical expertise, the professional leadership, the expertise in general, the behaviors that you're looking to emulate. Go to that person and see if they'd be willing to be your mentor. How do you ask? Just ask. Say, you know what, you're somebody that I've identified as being somebody that I feel that I can learn from. I really respect you. I respect what you've done with your career. I'd love the opportunity to be in a mentoring relationship with you so I can learn from you, right? And if you're not there yet, or if you're not quite sure what to say, consider what's stopping you from asking. Why are you afraid to reach out to them? Why are you afraid to just commit in the process? Are you not ready to share everything that you want to share? Or are you at the point where maybe you are unable to identify what some of the things are that you want to develop more? And then, can you be both a mentor and a mentee? Absolutely, right? They're two different relationships with different people. So you can be a mentor to somebody, and then either at the same time or later on, you can be a mentee to somebody else, because it's two totally different things based on your personal goals to be a mentee and what the mentee's goals from you, what the mentee's goals are to get from you as a mentor. So you can absolutely be both. So sorry, this is a webinar, so no questions. But I do hope that you got something out of this. And I appreciate the opportunity to have shared this with you. So I'm wishing everybody good luck with this, and enjoy the next mentoring relationship that you're part of.
Beth, thank you so much for joining us today, for sharing your time, your expertise, and your experience.
Thank you.